Hello! I have no idea if you can hear me. Got my volume turned off. Hello! Just bear with me while I get it set up here. Find it. There I am. So I can see your comments easier. There we go. You don't get in on the link, Jeanette. You have to just go onto my Facebook page, Brenda Rowe Artwork, and I'm live. Hi, Arlene. Thanks. Glad you can hear me. All right. So it's a little disconcerting because it's actually live, yet there is a delay. So what I see on the computer is not what I'm actually saying at this point. So it's all fun. So welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to doodle. So I'm going to move my makeshift camera stand that I've got done up to try and get this in a good spot. So just waiting to see what it looks like on the computer. Oh, it looks lovely. All right, so I'll give you a better, closer up view. This is the heart. Again, there's a couple of rules for those who have attended my classes before. They know what they are, but I will repeat them for everybody. We are here to have fun, and your project is not supposed to look identical to my project. And the reason for that is it's your project. Okay, so this is a reference that we're going to use, and I'm just going to lay it over to the side for now. And for today, we will need a pencil and an eraser in case you make a mistake. This is the kneaded eraser that I used last week for those who were with me last week, and this is just a white gum eraser that I use as well. And I've got a marker that we can use at the end because the project I did do there, I did go back over with the marker but we're going to do everything with the pencil in case you make a mistake. So this class is called Zentangle, and it's something that's been around for a while. It's doodling. Let's just be clear. It's just doodling, just with a little bit of formatting and structure to it. So I picked a very easy shape, and apparently I have somebody interested here. Hello! Excuse me, I have to keep somebody quiet. There's your treat. Go on. Let's see, hopefully that keeps Taz quiet. All it is basically making a shape, cutting it up into sections, however you want to do that, and then doodling with it. So a couple that I have done, and these are quite a few years old now, but I'll show you. Let's see if we can get it centered there so you can see it. These were Christmas themed. I was doing those in between visitors at a fair a couple of years ago. So that's just one. And then, so the point of this is that you can do, and this is a bigger one, so it's kind of hard to get it all in there. You can do whatever shape you want, and then put whatever doodles in it that you want. Okay, and got another one here. And they can be as intricate and detailed as you want, or as simple as you want. And they're called Zentangles. because it's supposed to make you calm with the doodling and things. So for obsessive compulsive people like me, and the majority of one side of my family at least, the obsessive compulsive is not necessarily a good combination with the doodling, but if you just relax and don't worry about things, it's fine. All right. Hi, Deidre from Colorado. How you doing? Okay, so before we start, I know this is going to be really hard to see, but I will post these up on the Facebook page after. These are just some different types of patterns that you can do in your doodle. And these are some more that I did up the other day just for this class. I know some of them are harder to see than others, but it's basically whatever you want to do, you can do. So we'll get started, and I'm just going to draw a heart. One side, the other side. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to be perfect, because when you start doing the doodles and the tangles and whatever you want to call them, you won't notice that you might be a little bit off in your shape. And again, this is supposed to be relaxing so that we're not supposed to worry about it being perfect. So the next thing we have to do is to divide this up into a bunch of different areas so that you can do a bunch of different patterns. So I started down here at the bottom of my heart and just made a straight line. So that's one area. Now, the number of areas that you cut your heart up into, it is entirely up to you. You could cut that into another section and then cut that into smaller sections. The smaller you get, the less tangle you do in each section, but you may be able to do a bunch of different tangles than you would have. So I've just done another one, and you can see I cheat a lot. That's another one of my rules. Cheat whenever possible. Move the paper around to whatever way is comfortable for you. Somebody now wants to go out. This is not going to be good. All right, so I am going to make a couple of more lines and quickly let my puppy out because hubby has gone to work this evening. So you guys can make your lines and slice up your heart into a couple of different sections. And I'll be right back. All right, he's quiet for now. Probably won't stay that way for long. See? All right. So the next thing we're going to do is pick which pattern we want to do. So I'm going to show you these patterns again. I don't know how well you can really see them. So, hi, go on over there. Let's see if I can hold them up. So there's some lines with some circles, all kinds of scaly things, triangles, sunbeams, circles, squiggles. You know, so you can be fairly structured like that one in the middle, or you can do things that are pretty simple, like just lines going diagonally, zigzags, triangles, all kinds of different things. And these ones are a little bit more fancy. So as you get better at it, and you may go into these different sorts of more complex patterns. You can Google Zentangles and get all kinds of different suggestions of patterns that you can use. I'm going to stick with the ones pretty much that I did on my example. So we're going to start with the bottom part of the heart. Hello everyone, if you've got any questions you can type them in. I've got it set up a little bit differently, still jury rigged this week, but I've got the laptop right in front of me this time so I don't have to look across the room and squint because I can't see it without my glasses on, so at least I can see when you actually make a comment. So all I'm going to do is from this main point down here at the bottom of the heart, I'm just going out with a bunch of lines in a sunray kind of pattern from the bottom. Now you can leave it just like that if you wish, or like I did on my example, I colored in every second one. Okay, so I'm just gonna lightly color it in with my pencil. So I know for the supply list I said that you could have a marker. What I did all of this with pencil first and then went back over it with the marker. Okay. Okay. So I figured I'd start you out fairly simple. Next one is really, really hard. We're going to make little tiny hearts in the middle of one of these sections. I'm going to change it up a little bit from what I've got done on the sample. So I'm going to do little tiny hearts and moving the paper and trying to randomly put the hearts throughout. And by turning the paper, you can see I've got the hearts going in different directions without even thinking about it, because I'm just still drawing my heart the same way. It's just the orientation of the paper has changed. Now, don't be afraid to get too close to the edges. Okay. You can have little partial hearts if you want. I'll turn the paper this way. Goes off the edge. Just to be a little different. I'll just stick another little one down there. Now what I chose to do on the hearts was I picked a few, but not all, and just colored them in as well. So, your choice. You can leave them. You can color half or some. You could color them all. Whatever strikes your fancy. Right. I'm happy with that. So I'll let you guys do that for a few minutes. For those of you who are used to my classes, you know I tend to give you all sorts of other tidbits of information as we go along. So this is a 6B pencil, and there are different types of pencils, of course, that you can get with the leads of which ones are harder and which ones are softer. And 6 is kind of on the furthest end of the scale, and it goes to H, 6H on the other end of the scale, because most of you have probably remember from school we used to have HB pencils we were supposed to have. Well, those were the ones right in the middle. So you sharpen them, of course, with a sharpener, but I've got mine, you probably saw me, I took it out of a plastic bag, and this just makes it easier. So I just put it back in the plastic bag, I grab it by the sides, put the pencil in, and sharpen it in the bag. So guess where all the shavings then go? Down into the bottom of the bag. I have not made a mess. And guess what? For an artist who travels, this is perfect because you could be on a plane, a bus, a train, and if you wanted to sketch something and you need to sharpen your pencils, easy, and you haven't made a mess all over the place. All right. So we'll move along to another pattern now. I've got this one called the fish scale pattern, and I'm going to do it up in the top corner because I just like, because it mimics the arch of the heart. So all I'm going to do is do the arch of the heart all the way along the lines, and don't worry if it doesn't come out exactly, because as it goes up into that smaller space, it will not work 100% exactly. So then when I go to the second row, I start from the middle of the bottom one, do the same arch again, going to the middle of the next one. Okay, and then I've got this little bit over here that didn't have anything, so just pretend like I'm going out backwards to meet another one over there and just finish off that little spot. Then we'd carry on with the next lane. That one, just a little tiny bit on the end, and again this one goes off the edge to the back. We'll get another row in, no problem. Again, I'm going to put that one back on the edge. Now this one, this last one, you've got to be a little bit more creative. And you've got to go and pretend like you did the scales, because they go off of the edge. Now if you really had to and you didn't know how to do it, you could lightly go outside and then you could take your eraser and erase it back off. And then nobody would know that you did that. Okay. Now, it's starting to smudge a little bit because I've got my hand down on it. So the trick for that is I'm just going to take one of my other pieces of paper. I'm going to work in this section here now, and I'm going to cover up what I already did so I can lay my hand down on the paper and I'm not going to smudge the lead that we've put on. Now of course, if I move my paper around on the bottom, I can move that, but my hands are going to be over here, so I'd have to move the paper with me as well. Okay, so just a little trick. I'll go put it back to where it was. And for this one, I'm just going to draw some straight lines going this way, approximately equally spaced. We don't need to get a ruler out. And then, just going to move this a little bit. I'm just going to go, start in the middle, go across, and then do a couple of lines above, a couple of lines below. Now you can leave it just like that if you wish, or you can do what I did on my example, and I put dots on the intersections of the lines just to give it just a little bit more texture. But again, you can do whatever you want. Okay. 3 more spots to fill. So we're more than halfway there. So we've got 4. I happen to have 7 spots. I don't know exactly how many you made, but we'll keep going now. Let's see, what do I want to do where? This is the hard part, deciding. I think I'm going to do something completely different now, and I'm going to do zigzags. And I'm going to do the zigzags over on this side, and I'm just gonna, they don't have to be exact. Okay. For right now, I like them just like that. I was debating whether or not I was going to do something in between, but I'm kind of happy with them like that. I'm going to do something a little different over in this part of the heart. Squiggly lines still, but more like a snake, a bit more smooth, and I'm going to make double squiggles. So one right on top of another, like a little river, perhaps. I'm going to do another one. Just a little tiny one sticking out at the bottom. All right, so all I'm going to do is do little dots in the middle of the snake or the river. So you can see that the tangles are all about repetition. So in the section that you're doing a certain thing, you do it to every certain bit of that pattern that you're doing in that section. So we did the squiggly lines, and now we did the dots. And you could leave this white space as it is. You could fill it back in with another line of squiggles and more circles if you want. But what I did, just to be a little bit different and kind of tie the shapes of the little hearts in, I just did little triangles randomly throughout. Again, just trying to make them in different directions. Which is kind of hard because, you know, triangles are just 3 sides, so they don't go in a lot of different directions. And there's not really any space down in the little bottom section for me, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Now again, just like the hearts, we can go in and color some of these if you wish. You can leave them just the way they are, or you may have chosen to just leave them completely empty in the first place with no triangles. One more section to go. Now, okay, what am I going to do this time? I think I'm going to not do what I did before and do something different again. I'm liking the swirls, so I think I'm going to do some swirls. So all I'm going to do is start in the center, or pick a point that's going to be the center, and pretend like I'm doing a circle, except don't join it together as a circle, so it's like a snake or a seashell. And you can make them as big or as small as you want. right. So if you still have sections of your heart that are not filled in, go ahead and pick a design that you want to put in that last one or two sections that you have. And what I did after I did that, so back to the original one, which looks similar but different, I used marker to go back over everything that I did. So I have this marker. It's actually from Costco, so you get a big bin of them. And there's blue and green and red in the thing as well. So there's a, oh, that's not the best way. Here we go. Maybe you can see that better. That's the thick end. And on the other end is a little tiny end. Okay? So I use the big thick end out around the edges. Again, if you don't have a marker, that's okay. You don't have to go back and do the marker for everything that you doodle. I just wanted to show you that you can. Just follow along what you've already done. And then I use the thick part to do the lines that I made for the different sections in the heart. And you could even leave it there. Once I have these done, you don't have to go in with the marker and do the rest of all your doodles, but that just helps make the image pop a little bit more. So let's see if I can do two of these sort of side by side so you can see them. There you go. All right. So you can get all kinds of different marker pens. These are micron pens. They come in 3 different sizes. So it's a 0.25 millimeters, 0.35 millimeters, 0.45 millimeters. So those are the really skinny ones. And then you've got your Sharpie marker that you could use for the outside and the lines in between your sections of your heart. And that's it for the doodles, other than the fact that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different patterns of doodles that you can do, because you can see even from this one I did here, I did a different pattern on every single leaf, right? So you could get really creative and do that, or you can do the exact same pattern on every single leaf. It's entirely up to you. The point of the doodles is to relax, have some fun, and know that you don't need a lot of Taz. Yes, here you go. Shh, no, come here. Okay, I solved it. I picked him up. All right. Thank you for helping, Taz. You're not really, but that's okay. Yeah, I know. So, all you need is a pencil, an eraser in case you want to erase any mistakes, and paper. Make a shape, any shape. You could just take this whole piece of paper and cut it up into different sections with just making lines, just like I did in the heart, and doodle away in each of the sections. Whatever you like, you like. What you don't like, well, that's okay. Just move along and do it differently the next time. It's just something to keep you occupied for a little while, keep your mind active, and, you know, enjoy doing some art. And as I mentioned last week, I did a test run of the technology and this and interest in this format of class last week. And the point for these is for me to try and come up with things with supplies that most people will have at home. And most people will have a pencil or a pen. You can doodle with your pen or your markers, colored pencils, whatever you want. And you'll have some paper, scrap paper, back of an envelope, whatever you've got lying around to do a little bit of art. And next week we are doing work with crayons. Now, I actually used oil pastels, but I'm figuring most of you won't have that, but you might have crayons. And we're just going to do a simple night scene. And if you don't have crayons, you can do them with pencil leads, you can do it with markers. It won't look as good, but, you know, when in Rome, or not in Rome as the case may be, when you're stuck in your house with whatever you got, we'll make do. And some people did ask for me to do some actual paint-alongs. And again, I know that not everybody have, thanks Sherry, not everybody has painting supplies home with them, but we're just going to do something very, very simple. And I'm going to attempt to show it to you here now, because it's on the computer, so I'm going to try and swing this as gracefully around as possible, but now I can't see what I'm showing you, so I have no idea if you can see it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's the white daisy. This one is a tried and true project that I've been doing for years in class, and we're going to do it in 2 nights, and just need a small canvas. You just need white paint, brown paint, yellow paint, and some brushes, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to be doing those on Zoom, and that way I can do feedback back and forth with those who are participating. Now normally my paint-along classes are $50 for one night. I'm offering this for $20 for the 2 nights on Zoom. You don't need any additional software for the Zoom. So if you're interested, I do have that posted up on my Facebook page. But again, next week, we're going to work on crayons for free here on Zoom. Or not on Zoom. This is Facebook. After this, next week, at 8 o'clock, will be the Zoom lesson of that white daisy. Then we have, I don't know where I've got everything poked now. I changed everything around today to get everything straightened up. So we've got 1 point perspective is another class that I'm going to do. This one is line and wash. So again, if you don't have any paints or coloring pencils or crayons, you can still do the drawing with me. It's a whimsical type of drawing, and then we're just going to color it in. And then this one is a tulip done in colored pencil. Again, we can do it with crayon, oil pastels, paint if you have it. It just depends. So again, the ones on Facebook, I'm trying to do all level projects for all ages with supplies that you may already have at home. So that is the end of this lesson for this week. I hope everybody stays safe, and thank you for joining me again, and hope to see you again next week. And feel free to share with your friends to get them. All they have to do is come on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Brenda Rowe Artwork, and they can join us live and see what we're doing. So thanks everyone.